how did the air start getting polluted? Let's start by defining air pollution. Air pollution is the destruction of chemical, particle matter, or biological materials that cause harm or discomfort to humans and other living organisms, or damage nature environment into the atmosphere. The air pollution is caused by industries, automobiles, and domestic fossil fuels, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide. And the air pollution effects are human health, animals, plants, the atmosphere as a whole, and acid rain. Let's take a look at the local environment. In the early development, the air pollution was so high that smog killed and sickened thousands of people in Los Angeles in 1948. As shown in the graph on the right, we can see how the amount of oxygen decreased each year and the amount of pollution air increased. Now let's take a look at the global environment. As time goes by, the rate of air pollution increases. By this, it means the more people are getting sick and dying. As is shown in the graph on the right, we can see how China and India have a high air pollution emission. The study shows how by 2060 the air pollution will be really high. Furthermore, living in areas with high level of traffic-specific pollution does appear to cause the development of asthma in children. In addition, air pollution in general can act to worsen asthma in those people who already have this disease. And as population grows, the air pollution grows as well, because more cars are built and industries are built as well. More fuel is burned, which means more air pollution will be created.
For my part of the PowerPoint, we're going to be talking about the local and global harm of air pollution. We're going to be talking about the local air pollution, the global air pollution, health hazards, biodiversity hazards, car emission hazards, and what can we do to help provide a sustainable future. On this slide, I have listed on a scale from 1 to 100, 1 being the worst and 100 being the best, the air quality of the surrounding cities. In descending order from the best to the worst, it goes Riverside, California with 74, Corona, California with 66, San Bernardino, California with 59, Huntington Beach, California 56, Irvine, California 55, Santa Ana, California 49, and Fullerton, California 45. As you can see, the surrounding cities are ranked from 45 to 74. This means that the air pollution in this area along the coast is ranked as being moderate. On this slide, it ranks global air pollution on the same scale of 1 to 100, 1 being the worst and 100 being the best. Budok, Singapore is a 52, Lima, Peru 41, Kabul, Afghanistan 14, Venice, Italy 46, Shanghai, China 65, Chad, Africa 75, and Moscow, Russia 64. All of the cities except for one, Kabul, Afghanistan, are ranked moderate. Kabul, Afghanistan is ranked to be low in danger. There are also health hazards associated with air pollution. Short-term health effects include asthma and emphysema. In fact, asthma has increased in about a 35% rate in teens and young adults since the 1900s. Long-term health effects include chronic respiratory disease, lung cancer, heart disease, damage to the brain, nerves, liver, and/or kidneys. There are also many biodiversity hazards. For example, animal species tend to evolve. This includes a loss of reproductive capacity, meaning they are not allowed to reproduce as many offspring. For the ecosystems, a lot of the sensitive plant species die off and become extinct. The ocean also goes through acidification. Specifically, it causes the ocean to absorb and react with carbon dioxide gas, which makes the acid. Forests become weakened. This allows the trees to become more susceptible to disease and die off. This is also a form of deforestation. Here is a picture example of ocean acidification. The atmospheric carbon dioxide, or CO2, goes into the water combining to create carbonic acid. The carbonic acid then goes off to make hydrogen ions, bicarbonate ions. The bicarbonate ions also split off to create hydrogen ions and carbonate ions. These ions cause deformed shells and other deformed sea life. Lastly, one of the largest contributors to air pollution are car emissions. Those major pollutants include particle matter, which are basic particles of soot and metals, then hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and other hazardous air pollutants. One of the most common hazards of the pollutants are the carbon monoxide. That is an odorless, colorless, and poisonous gas that is formed by the combustion of fossil fuels. Carbon monoxide is not only found in cars, but it's also found stovetops and ovens.
Predicted greenhouse scenarios. The residence times for the main greenhouse gases are: for CO2, 3,000 years; for methane, 12 years; for nitrous oxide, about 120 years; and for halocarbons, several weeks to 50,000 years. According to the graph, the black line represents the highest emission pathway, which is a prediction estimated if we don't change and continue at the same rate of greenhouse emissions, whereas the red line shows the lowest emission pathway, which depicts a trend in which we assume the peak of emission is at 500 parts per million, and after the years 2020 will reduce. Recommendations for a sustainable future. The extent of future climate change depends on what we do now to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The more we emit, the larger future changes will be. Future changes are expected to include a warmer atmosphere, a warmer, more acidic ocean, higher sea levels, more health problems, and larger changes in precipitation patterns. Globally, we can reduce air pollution by substituting natural gases and coals in residential and commercial uses of energy production with renewable sources such as wind, solar, nuclear, geothermal, and clean power sources to reduce fossil fuel emissions. Also, we can scrap older vehicles by buying new energy efficient cars and building and renewing our infrastructures to be more eco-friendly. Locally, you can use public transportation. Use your vehicle a lot less often. Carpool and rideshare when you have the ability to do so, and consider using public transportation instead of driving. Also, vote for candidates with strong environmental platforms and be engaged in your local government and try to promote more environmental friendly laws. In our own homes, eat local organic foods so that we can reduce transportation and pesticide. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle as much as you can so that it can be reused later, and thereby reducing your carbon footprint and release of greenhouse gases. For example, using reusable bags for groceries. Another is using blankets when it's cold outside, or using a fan instead of an AC. This conserves a lot of energy. Also, don't keep lights or other electronic devices plugged in when it's not in use. Hopefully, by considering these solutions globally, locally, and even in our own homes, we can reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, thereby producing less greenhouse gases and hopefully reducing air pollution so our children have a healthy, sustainable environment for the future.